This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto. Got a light?
Thank you dearly, Rob Broski from Twin Peaks. I had the pleasure of meeting Rob Broski, Stuart Strauss, Christian Calloway, three of the Woodsmen from Twin Peaks, Season 3. They were in the studio when I had the K-Chung 16:30 a.m. Chinatown show, which I may still start up doing again, in addition to this podcast. That broadcast live. So, yeah, those guys were in there. That's where I got that awesome promo. Thank you, Rob Broski. Next, we have Maria Humphreys from Strong Body, Strong Soul podcast. Phenomenal, very informative. Go check her out. She's all over the place, too. And we have Tumultuous, a fellow that I met on TikTok. Very interesting guy. Very interesting views. This guy has got to be a wizard. Lots of insight, and I promise I will have an interview with him to dive deeper, because in the beginning, when he came across me, when we first came across each other, I was putting out the Dolores Cannon videos, and then all of a sudden he started noticing all these synchronicities that lined up exactly with videos, things that I was showing in the videos and things that I was doing that were specifically aligned with what was going on in his life. Plus, we have a fun fact from Henry D. Horse, a special message from Atlas Dragon from the Varels Bridge Society, a special guest, my song, the Facepalm theme song, which is out on Spotify, iTunes, all over the place. However, I attached it to this so you could hear it immediately. And you're going to hear something that I really haven't dug deep into talking about before, something very personal to me, which is coming up in the second segment, or second chapter. I don't know. You'll see how it all fits together. It all fits together. Thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Kurt, hello. I am loving your ramble here, and thank you so very much for the kind words out here. It's Maria. Hi. I actually have a video of you and I in conversation about creative freedom, and I haven't had a chance to fix it up a little bit to produce it onto YouTube. It is available on the Strong Body, Strong Soul Facebook page, but I love it what you just said here on your show about embarrassment and such. And in our conversation, one of ours that's out there already, you said something about regret and embarrassment. Which one are you willing to live with? And you know what? Being yourself, exploring all these things, it's just such an amazing thing to...
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Burt Reynolds laughing in Hooper. And this concludes our moment of Burt Reynolds laughing in Hooper. Thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto. Ecto. Today is 10:51 a.m. It is February the 19th, 2022. You know, there's some folks are saying that February 22nd, 2022 is going to be a very significant day. Any of those days that line up like that. I believe they called that the 11/11 Gateway. Remember when it was 2011? 11/11/11. Down, down, down. I mean, it was like boom, boom, boom. So these are moments to pay attention to, and I definitely say, I think today was maybe the 11th day in a row where I did the transformative shifting cube. And so I intend to see a whole bunch of new synchronicities today and manifestations of reality that closely reflect conversations I've had with my friends, revelations, dreams, etc., and so forth. This little guy, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to lay down over here? What are you doing? Oliver's trying to find a good comfy place to lay down. In the meantime, what I wanted to tell you was, right now I have the microphone plugged in. So what the microphone does, I'm not sure. I don't know if it tries to limit noises. I don't know how it works. So it's just a little microphone that has the lightning, the lightning plug-in thing, so it could fit into this iPhone 8. So 8 for infinity, baby. And which is great. I had the 5S before this. So I went from 5, like dimension 5, to infinity. So I'm gonna stay parked here for as long as I can, or as long as I intend. So I'm on the iPhone 8 Infinity, and I've got this little microphone plugged in here. And so for Lisa's interview, if you listen back on two podcasts ago, Lisa's interview, I did not have the microphone. Rob's interview, I used the microphone. Now, when I record podcasts, I really don't go back and listen to it unless there's something that someone says and they go, "Oh, can you edit this out?" Then I'll go in there and I'll edit that thing out. Or if there's just, maybe at the very beginning of the podcast where we're like, "Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" Sometimes I leave that stuff in. Sometimes I take that out. But in most cases, I don't listen back to what was recorded because I want it to be as authentic as possible, as close to the source. If I say something embarrassing or stupid or something that, I'm like, "Oh, I got to go back, apologize for," at least I stayed true to whatever that vibe was in that moment. Rather than over-censoring myself, trying to go, "Oh, is this going to offend someone? Is that going to offend someone? Is someone not going to be liking this?" et cetera, et cetera. Because otherwise nothing would flood, I need to open the floodgates. So over the past 11 days, I've just had these great brainstorms. Tara and I hung out, I don't know how many hours the other day, brainstormed new ideas. It's always important to have people in your life who you can brainstorm with. My buddy Vince, another great brainstormer. My buddy John Garside. My brother Josh, Eric Kleinberg. Just these folks, they have this highly tuned, Alex Smart. You move along with the ideas. Like, rather than trying to get into the science of it, you're just going, "Oh, and then wouldn't that be funny if this, or wouldn't that be funny if that?" And you go, "Oh, what would happen next?" And they go, "Oh, what about this? I'm getting images of that." And you build it. We've talked about this so many times, but it's so satisfying. So satisfying when an idea is built in that moment and you roll with it. You just go with it, and it feels so satisfying because there's no odds at stake. There's no competition. There's no us versus them. None of that stuff is prevalent. It's pure ooh, ooh, ooh. And I got to tell you, with each of these particular friends of mine, they have their own ways of brainstorming that offer these perspectives that I personally would not have seen in that moment. And when I verify, when I validate that, when I say, yes, We're both brainstorming from the same source, and I accept whatever this person's idea is, and they accept my idea. And there's no, oh yeah, well then what about this? And it's like, well yeah, but we got to explain that. Well, yeah, listen, let's let all that explain itself later. Let it explain itself later. Right now we're too busy dreaming of this specific thing right here. So let's let this thing murmur. You know, let it marinate, let it simmer. Maybe that's what murmuring is, a cross between marinating and simmering. So you're just like, you know, that's it, murmuring. Maybe when you hear the bubbles, it's like, that's the murmur. So as you just let that happen, you trust in that process, more and more of it just keeps expanding outward and outward. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is about. However, I can tell you it was about something fun, and it spawned out of the most simplest absurd idea. Follow the absurdity. Follow the absurdity. How crazy can it get? How outlandish can it get? It's like you dare yourself to go, how outlandish can we get? What happens if we keep growing it in this direction? And rather than matching it up with, let's say, practical or analytical or scientifically oriented things, it's like we're okay. It's like saying our characters are going to the moon. We're not going to explain how they got there. We're not going to explain why they're able to breathe in the atmosphere. None of that is explained. Like for instance, Sam and Max game. They drive their car to the moon. You don't see them drive there. They're like, oh, well, let's go to the moon base. Okay. And off they go. You don't even see them get in the car. Let's go to the moon base. Boom. All of a sudden, next thing you know, getting out of the car. And then there they are. There you are, up on the moon. So, allow yourself to just get absurd. Revel in the absurdity of what's happening. Oh, what a thrill. Ozonated water, baby. Ozonated water. Wowzers. So I wake up, I do the Bashar transformative shifting cube. I'm in a high vibration. What does that do? That magnetizes more high vibrations. And that could be a text. That could be a conversation. That could be someone calling you out of the blue that you're just thinking about. Friends of mine are waking up to these concepts that we have talked about in the past, and perhaps I've realized the key ingredient to all this is the idea of removing the news entirely from the diet. Let's let those who are so passionate about taking care of that, who feel called to do that, okay, and be in those areas and do that stuff. If we were to let them trust in the fact that they are aspects of ourselves who are taking care of those things, and we take care of what is following in our preferences and what is important to us, our personal selves, it's not a question of it's not a question of choosingly neglecting one group. It's not neglecting if you don't know about it. So, like right now, am I neglecting, I don't know, what's going on some remote island in Scotland where some teenage kids are behaving badly, doing bad stuff? Okay, so how much am I required to stretch myself? I think where my most power lies right here, right now, with you, with me. This very interaction that's occurring right here. And I've noticed that the friends of mine who have turned off the news, who are not listening to the news, who are making their own news, making their own media, who are following their heart, they are doing extraordinary things because their minds are not bogged down by this, whether it's guilt, whether it's shame, whether it's, any of those, if you look at the ties of those vibrations, those are all low vibrations. If you look at the news and you go, is that high vibration or low vibration? Well, they did show the sports highlights. That was good. Well, you know what that is? That's a symbolic representation of what's possible when people come together and put that vibe in there, cooperation vibe. If they subtract the competition aspect, bam, everything's perfect. Then there's no dividing line between there. And it's one big, everybody imagine that size of that stadium filled with people, excited about being alive, grateful. Maybe you call it the appreciation celebration. Just appreciating life, appreciating oxygen, appreciating without the idea of having to fight against anyone. There's no fighting against anyone or anything. Combat this, struggle against that, battle this. No, it's integration, 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 integration. Remember, bringing the members back together. Because as we do that, what happens? We be the best versions of ourselves, and then now all of a sudden we have energy to be able to shine light upon those who are closest to us. How many times have you known someone? I know I've known people throughout my life who are so strongly advocating or activated for these big issues, and yet they're neglecting their own family relationships. They're neglecting their own husband and wife dynamic. They're neglecting their children, neglecting their neighbors who are closest to them, their own animals. And yet out in the streets, rah, 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 putting up their signs for this or that. But when they're back at home, what's that then? What's the point of that then? It's going from the outward in. It's trying to uphold this image more than actually upholding your authenticity, really, rather than placing value in your authenticity. It takes less energy to place value in your own authenticity than it does to go out and scream and yell and let everybody know what your identity is. It does. Everyone will know what your true identity is through your authenticity. Through my authenticity, this is how people know what my true identity is. Not some character that I'm playing in a movie. Possibly through, I don't know, possibly. It's not and it is, at the same time. It's whatever the perspective is. So, see, whatever is funneled through me right now is a limited perspective. It's a limited perspective. I like to believe that I'm directly giving information that's plugged into all that is, the source, and my desire to treat others with the golden rule, the way I want to be treated. I like to believe that. However, it's more important for me to be authentic to myself, bringing that authentic version of myself into the interactions that I have with the people that matter most, the people who have encouraged me throughout my life, the people who have fed me, the people who have given me water, the people who have eaten dinner with me, the people who have just showed how much they've cared, listened to me complain or philosophize or give an idea without going, oh, well, that's stupid. All the people who have listened to me, all the people who have been there in those times when I'm crying about a relative who has passed, or even stubbing my toe really hard. It's important to have that person either laugh along with you while you're going through this and help you see the absurdity in it. Because ultimately, we want to be at a high vibration. So how do we find the comedy in the tragedy? Maybe that's the thing. How do we find the comedy in the tragedy? And then now we're teaching others how to do the same in those moments where something seems so dire. It is right there. It's showing us that's a symbolic representation of being able to redefine anything at any moment how we want to. We are choosing. We are the authority of the definition. We're the authority of the words that we're choosing, of how words that have been chosen through other versions of ourselves. So we're looking at this through that spiritual connectivity there. Okay, if all these people are that other reflection of ourself, then certainly they are telling us things about ourselves that we know, either A, know to be true, we resonate with, we have a reaction to. Why? Because there's something about it tied to something. And we go, oh, shut up, don't say that around me. Well, maybe the universe placed them there to as an aspect of ourselves, so they keep reminding us to whittle down those sharp edges, so we're smooth like a rolling stone. Those stones, that glass you find on the beach, those transparent, people have said, oh, well, that's just like a bottle that has been ground down. And I go, whoa, that's interesting. The ocean has collaborated with that glass to refine it into this crystal, which still blows my mind that the sand is glass. Glass is sand. It's both. It's neither. It's one or the other. It's all of it. It's the water, it's the ice, and it's the mist. It's the moisture. It's all three of those. It's the Father, it's the Son, it's the Holy Spirit. Father being the higher mind, Son being the limited avatar version, and then the Holy Spirit being that connection between it all. It is all the same. Oof. It just feels so good. Those connections. And Lisa, by talking with Lisa, what's awesome is she is reaffirming her intuitions, which then reaffirms my intuitions. Right there, sharpening. That's another good. That's another one. Polishing, sharpening, polishing. Buffing out those sharp edges. Like when you fall, I still remember this from, was it Taekwondo or Hapkido? I can't remember. They're probably not the same thing. But maybe I think I took a class long ago when I was a kid. And it was for Taekwondo, maybe? And then later I took Hapkido. And then later at COD, I took it with Mike Sodi and Phil Donlin. But they teach you how to fall. They always teach you how to fall. When you fall from standing straight up and you fall, bam, right on your chest, but you all of the weight that's distributed is like, it's all like, and you fall where your hands are right next to you, and poof, right at chest level, poof, and you move your head out of the way, you move your face out of the way, poof, but you don't put out your hands like, oh my God. What you do is you roll over your shoulders. I have wiped out so many times skateboarding, and it looked horrible, I'm sure, from the outside, and I get up and I'm like, just like, oh my gosh, thank God, thank Source, thank all that is, that I was able to implement, that I learned that the universe placed me in those classes long ago. I followed my intuition. I followed my parents' intuition. Maybe they followed their intuition. I don't know. Maybe they followed my intuition. I don't know. Who listened to who? Who said yes? Who listened to who? Who said yes to what? Because it was an agreement. That was an agreement. I like that idea. Yes, bam. Stamp it. Yes, I'll go with you. So, learning how to fall like that. Wow. And then learning in gymnastics how to flip. Well, learning how to flip on the dive. That tied up with learning how to flip on the diving boards in swimming. And that, once again, back in high school, the flipping on the diving boards helped me with my flips in gymnastics class of gym. You know, it's funny. The classes that I really loved, were the ones that we spent the less time in. We spent more time in football, and I got to tell you, they hardly passed to me, but when they did, people had a hard time. Actually, I could have 3 or 4 people grappling onto me, and I would still be like trudging through like the Hulk. They passed to me. Oh man, I zigged, I zagged. How interesting is that? However, we spent less time in soccer, which I love. I love soccer. I love soccer. I still catch things with my feet to this day. If something falls off the counter, I go, whoop, I catch it. Try to do my best to catch it with my foot. And soccer, volleyball, and kickball. Flag football. I was so good at flag football. I really love that. Flag football was great. T-ball I played. I was in Milwaukee Brewers. T-ball. Oh. Gosh, when you really think about that, it's the cooperation aspect that the universe is speaking to us through. In that, going, here's this. But we look back at all of those. We go, oh, I followed my heart on these things. I learned this cooperation aspect. I learned this ensemble together. That's yes and right there. That's improv. I'm imagining volleyball. Okay, boop, set it up, spike. That's the yes, and bam. And it goes to the next people. Do they get it too? Yes, bam. And this. And they just keep handing it off. It's a game of improv if you want to look at it that way. What if the goal was not to try to knock it out of their hands, but to knock it into their hands? However, you are doing them a service by trying to knock it, on the other side and try to make it so they can't get it. You're actually helping them strengthen their abilities, their superhuman abilities. So if the game were played with that in mind, whoa, imagine how awesome and playful the games could be. Then there's no screaming, no yelling. There are no coaches having heart attacks because they're screaming red in the face. Ah! There's just pure energy, pure energy. It's so funny. I was watching Star Trek, the old ones. I watched them all, and I really wish there were a lot more. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I couldn't understand it as a kid because they got really technical with stuff. But there was, two episodes two episodes where they used stuff for that song, Pure Energy. That Spock, Pure Energy. And he goes, it works so far, but we're not out yet. That's Bones. It works so far, but we're not out yet. Pure Energy. Those were both from different episodes, and they glued them in there. Now I got to go back and re-listen to that song to hear how those matched up. Like what was the message being said in that song? I'm so surprised when I go back and I look through these lyrics of these songs and I realize, oh, that's what was really being said. Come Sail Away. I thought that they were angels, but to my surprise, basically the guy thinks he sees angels, but these are extraterrestrials that take him aboard a ship that goes into the sky. Come sail away with me. That's what this song is about. So when you decipher these songs, you're like, whoa, that's what was going on. This is a heavy spiritual song. I would not be surprised if some of the guys who were in that band had either seen UFOs, been contacted by UFOs, and or were abducted by extraterrestrials and brought aboard those ships. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised one bit. A lot of times in these movies, these TV shows, in addition to being enthusiasts, these are also ufologists. These are people who study this stuff, who have always loved it, and maybe this is their way of declaring their side of what happened to them without really putting the spotlight on themselves, without stepping out into the limelight and going, hey, everybody, guess what? This strange thing happened to me. And they're like, oh, no, you're crazy. No, I'm sorry. It was just a dream. I meant to say it was just a dream. It's just a funny, funny dream. It's just a funny, funny dream. But really, they know. No, this is real. This is what happened to me. And I'm sharing this with you because I trust that you would not make fun of me for it, would maybe lend your ear. After all, I've lent my ear to countless outlandish stories I've heard. Perhaps we can return the favor. Perhaps we can activate some good old-fashioned reciprocation. Reciprocation activation, baby.
Hello, Mr. Projecto, Inspirado. This is Tumultuous, or Dimitri, which is actually my real name. It's interesting that you have a podcast on Anchor about things that are supernatural to some, but more of a log to yourself so you can keep track of what you're doing, thus telling other people the information that you know in hopes other people will, quote-unquote, wake up. I have one too, and on Anchor. It's called Avoiding Entropy. Yeah, I'll totally be a guest on your podcast. It could be great. I shoot from the hip usually when I go, but I haven't had a guest on mine yet. I just kind of been blabbering away. If you want to listen, Intuition's a good episode. And the Genius, Inkblot Genius. Looking forward to hearing from you. See you soon. Happy thinking. Thanks.
Yes, that is Tumultuous, a.k.a. Dimitri from Avoiding Entropy podcast. I met him on TikTok. Lots of synchronicities lined up there, and I still need to interview you for this. Now, I also want to add that my buddy Lawrence August has always been an extraordinary brainstormer. I was just listening back to that first. It's funny because I start out at the beginning of that thing going, I don't go back and edit it or listen back to it. But I was like, wait a second. I think I missed some people who are very important to me in terms of brainstormers. My buddy Lawrence August, my dad, Chuck Clendenin, my mom, Terry Clendenin, my friend Noel, just my friend Dana, just a whole bunch of Ashley, Lizette, Mary. My gosh, there's so many of them. So many of them, because it's growing, because I'm noticing the authenticity. It's that, as Lisa would say, the signature frequency, signature vibration, that signature frequency. You recognize it, you go, aha, I recognize that. Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing more of, and as a result, I'm finding these extraordinary. Jenny, my sister, another phenomenal brainstormer. Storminer. My buddy Eric Kleinberg. Gosh, there are so many good ones. So I had to put that in there because, my gosh, these people. Del Weston. Another great brainstormer. My buddy Uncle Arnie. Jeez. Brainstorming galore. Brainstormers of America. Back to the show. But first, a Henry D. Horse fun fact. Unfact.
Here's your fun fact. When cats walk, their left front leg moves in tandem with their left back leg. And their right legs do the same. The only other animals that walk this way are giraffes and camels. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
Reciprocation, activation, collaboration, cooperation, precipitation, prescription. Shun, action, motion. ION, isn't that interesting? The ion. The T. I've been thinking about, I love breaking down what letters look like numbers. And then what do each of these letters, what do they look like they signify? So the T is, I think it's like a hammer of sorts. Ding, ding, ding. It's also like the nail. It's the hammer and the nail if you look at it. It's the T. The tall case, the capital letter T. So it looks like a hammer. Bing, bing, bing. But it's also the nail, because if you look at it, or a thumbtack. So either way, it's bam. It's, boom. It's getting the thing in motion. What else does it look like? Maybe upside down it looks like a foot. 2 legs next to each other. The groundedness, that's good. Lowercase t, it looks like, of course, the cross. Even those are like hammered into the ground, aren't they? Scarecrows hang on crosses. Lowercase t looks like a plus sign. And what's coming next? Bam. So maybe the T-I-O-N, shun, maybe that's like getting the ion in action. You're moving the ion. That's the bam. That's the first, of a domino falling over, so to speak. That's the first bam. I had this conversation with Eric Kleinberg long ago. He's my buddy who I used to be able to share my coincidences with. I'm putting that in quotes because we didn't have any better word for this. But growing up, I'd share with him, those happenings. And he would share them with me, the deja vus, all that jazz, the really awesome dreams. That we found them significant. And we really wanted to get to the root of this. So we'd play with words. We loved it. Wordplay. I was brought up with wordplay. My dad would say, skizzers. Can you pass me the skizzers? Can you pass me the knife? We loved playing with the words. And one time, Eric said to me, he goes, a relationship is not the letter A. Because letter A is, yes, there's the connection between them, but they're leaning against each other. He said perfect relationship is the letter H. The letter H. And I thought, that is awesome. Hi, kitty. The letter H. Because they're connected, yet they are each standing on their own. They are these solitary. Everybody needs solitude, folks. Especially if you're in a relationship. Because it's too easy. If you want harmony in this relationship, you're trying to. One would think the idea is to, what can I learn from you? And the other person's going, what can I learn from you? And they're going, what can I teach you? What can I teach you? So it's always a learning and teaching experience, but it's a learning experience. The questions lead to more questions. And so if we're in this thing of going, we're blending into this mindset, it's too easy to get caught up in each other's dramas and their own traumas. Isn't that interesting? Trauma is drama. Trauma, drama. I wonder if people have written that out. Trauma, drama. Trauma, drama. Now it's time for trauma, drama. So other people's trauma can become the thing that it's a recycled thing. It's never gets out of there. So in H, you need that solitude so you know who you are just individually as your own fingerprint, as your own identity, as your own snowflake, special DNA blueprint. And so yeah, H is great. It's so interesting too. This is another connection that came to me because when I think of H, I think of 8. When I think of 8, I think of infinity. So what's so interesting is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Bam, that's 8. H is 8. So H is 8. If you put that 8 into that H, it looks like, like the one of those, like, it looks like the hourglass. Like the hourglass is in that, you just go, and you spin it. It's like it's in its little holder. So, it's like those things on the side. They're holding it, that 8 there. And it's cool because then that reminds me of like the monkey bars growing up. And, or the parallel bars, if we want to talk about gymnastics, like the, how you see the gymnasts, they flip from the one bar and now they go to the next bar. H is like, well, the sides to a chair. If you kind of look at it like you're looking straight on, that's a chair. It supports you. The H supports you. Yeah, that middle. There it is. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The ice, water, mist, moisture, all in one. Bam. 1, 2, 3. Bam. It's all holding itself together. It's sturdy. Interesting. If you tip it on its side, tip the H on its side, it's just 2 T's. Now you've got a table. That's interesting. Ooh, interesting. Now imagine, okay, if it were a table, okay, so you're looking at it straight on like a table. Now remember, that's 2 circles. So look at, if you bring that up now, that's interesting. Now you got wheels. Wheels in motion, perpetual motion. Emotion, motion. E, I've looked at E, I've regarded E as energy, enthusiasm, earth, entails. There's like a electricity, zaps it. Enthusiasm, excitement. Entertaining, entering something. E. I think I wrote this in Wonder Wander. E-N, entertainment. Well, it's also entertainment. I-N. Some people can pronounce it that way. Entertainment. So to entertain something is to you go into it. I stands for I, me. I, me, you, we. I, me, you. I, me, you. I, me, you. I, me, you. There you go. The rule of 3. I, me, you. Interesting. I is the boop, 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 the antenna, which is awesome because you look at a lowercase I, it's an upside down exclamation point. Bam. So I. That's the I am. That's the Father. Me is the Son. The one, there's just the thing. And then the you is the Holy Spirit. The you, the connection between me and you, or me and the all that is. The. And then when you look at you in the mirror, see, this is all part of USU. This is all part of ubiquitous serendipitous ubiquity. All of what I've suddenly entered the mode of talking about ubiquitous serendipitous ubiquity. I've been writing a book about this. This is something that Eric and I devised. And all of what I'm telling you right now, this portion is connecting with this. So Y-O-U in a mirror is U-O-Y. Well, how would you say that backwards? We. You, we, you, we, you, we. So you could say USU the same way. It's you, we, you, we, you, we. You, Y-O-U, is phonetically the letter U. If you pluralize the letter U, you get us. You get yous. If you pluralize Y-O-U, you get yous. So a bunch of yous is us. Yous is us. It goes so deep. This goes so deep, and it has to do with language, play, wordplay, finding out what some of those prefixes, suffixes, root words mean in other languages, and seeing what that is, the symbology there. It's a deep unpacking of symbology that's waiting there to be discovered. That once you start doing it, start hatching it, you can't unhatch it. Like an upside down U, lowercase u, or uppercase U, it's an N. So if you want to look at U and N in the same way, use the upside down N. So imagine that. You take an upside down N, you put an upside down U, and you stack it on top of each other. That kind of looks like an infinity symbol now. You pinch those together, bam. Which of course symbolizes the yin yang. Now us, if you have us looking in a mirror, on the other side is SU, USU. Ubiquitous, serendipitous ubiquity. If you take that S, that if you were to really look at it, like, you know how you can draw like a 2, but it looks like a backwards S? Well, now, okay, so you got that USSU. Us to you. Us to you. Us to the all that is, to the infinite you, to the source. Us to you. Well, take that S and that 2, and you go, what happens when you put it together? There's the infinity symbol. So that's the USU symbol right there. U, 8U. USU. You ate you. Well, that sounds like you are what you eat. That's exactly what that is. What does a U symbolize? I mean, this stuff goes so deep. And I suppose I can be happy in saying that this is simply because I'm saying it and because it's written down in my book, Wonder Wander. I put pieces of this in Wonder Wander as little elements as foreshadowing of the book that's coming out all about this. I would love to get printed by Ozark Publishing. Oh my gosh. You want me to spill the beans for you more about USU? I'll spill more of the beans here, okay? I'll spill more of the beans. U is also the lucky horseshoe. You are luck. U is in the shape of a magnet. You are the magnet. U is, if you look at a cup, that's like, I have these rounded edges. They look like a letter U. Well, that's a cup. You fill it up. Your nutrition. You drink. You are what you eat. You are what you drink. What's interesting is if you put a tail on it, on the bottom part, now you got a wishbone. You are the wish. You are the wish. It's U is also in the shape of a boomerang. You are the boomerang. You put out the intention. You put it into the mirror. Us to you. Us to you. Imagine Link, like with Zelda. Link throws the boomerang out and he gets the gems. It all comes back to him. The boomerang comes back to you. Your boomerang of intention. The wishbone also is like a tuning fork. If you look at a tuning fork, and you add that, you ground yourself. Well, what's that also? That's a goal. That's a goalpost. That's a slingshot of intention. That is you, Y-O-U, I'm talking about you and me. That's you putting our arms out. If you standing still and you're putting your arms out like a letter U, that's you like, oh, opening up your arms like, hey, I'm ready for a hug. That's you. The greater you is hugging you. What also is interesting when you do that, you look like the letter Y. Y. So when you look at these are all, U is a Y. So now, if you take a U, and you take a U next to a U, and you tip them both over so they're facing each other, now you go boop, and you boop, sort of teardrop the tops of those, put them together. Now that's 2 U's is infinity. I mean, it's like, that's how deep this is. This is the legend of USU, of ubiquitous serendipitous ubiquity. Let me explain to you what 8 is. 8 is H. 8 is infinity. 8 is 2 zeros, or 2 O's. So 1 O equals infinity as well. A U, or an infinity symbol, is a bow tie. You are the bow of infinity. Bow of infinity. It's a propeller. It is you, the infinite you. What does that look like? Like a disguise, like a mask. If you put that right over where your eyes are. What is that? Eyes. Is. Third eye. Is. Eyes. EYES. Is. I. I is I. I mean, this keeps going. It's or like we said. It's also the recycling symbol. It is. I'm talking about 8 right now. Infinity. It's the Mobius strip. It is the wings of a hummingbird. It is the wings of a butterfly, which symbolizes change. Hummingbirds are always good luck. Scales. Precipitation, recycling. I mean, it all these things relate to each other. Now, if we look at a U, and you draw another U next to it. What do you got? You got a W. And now, what do you do if you tip that on its side to the right? It looks like an E. It's we. We. Upside down W is an M. Me. Me is we. How beautiful is that? So, we, if we want to look at it this way, we is us. W-E is the same thing as U-S, if we want to look at that way. We is Y-O-U-S. We is a bunch of U's. Me's is we's. Me's is we's. We's is you's. It keeps going. We, if we were to match that up with French, that is O-U-I, which means yes. We means yes. Yes in Spanish is si, S-I. S-I, looking in the mirror, is. Is eyes. C, S-I, if you take that and you use it phonetically, it's the letter C. But what else is the letter C? S-E-E. S-E-A. I mean, how beautiful is that? So, to see something. So if you put what is 2 C's? C and an S. Well, if you move that C and you go, rip, that's a U. It's us. What's the S? It's a 2. It's a backwards 2. You too. Us is you too. Us to you. Usu. U-S-S-U. It's a palindrome. What is a palindrome? Palindrome is the same thing forward as it is backwards. We are what we see in the mirror. I can't believe I'm spilling the beans on this, but it's telling me I need to tell you right now. 1. So we think of universe. Okay, so the universe, Y-O universe. That's the letter U, universe. U-N-I is uni. Uni is 1. 1 verse. 1, O-N-E. 1 verse. You are the singer. You're contributing that verse to the orchestra. 1, if we use that phonetically, it's W-O-N. You have 1. What's W-O-N looking in a mirror? It's now. Now is 1. You have 1. You have the eyes to see that you won. 1 is I. What's a capital I? Capital I is what we were talking about before. It's an H on its side. Capital I is, H. What is H? Infinity. So I can be infinity. I can be 8. I can be H. I mean, it's astounding. It keeps going. So that capitalized I is 2 T's balancing, 2 capital letter T's balancing precariously on each other. They're making an agreement to balance. It's balance. I mean, it keeps going when we break it down. The number 1 is I. I mean, it's amazing. So if we think about that, W-O-N, I, 1. I is I, E-Y-E. 2 I's is, eyes. Now, 1. It goes and goes. Eyes is what? Look in the mirror. I-S, that's C. C is yes. C is to see something. Yes is we. In French, we is W-E, we. So it goes and goes. What does it also look like? Glasses. Glasses. If you put infinity on its side, it looks like glasses. Glasses. Interesting. Glass. hourglass. O-U-R. If we use that H and we just kind of scoot it off to the side and we let it be the infinity it is hourglass. O-U-R glass. It is our glass. We are the ones with the precipitation. We are what we eat. Us to you. You ate you. Our glasses. Our. O-U-R phonetically is R. A-R-E. We are our glass. A-R-E, what does that sound like phonetically? The letter R. Our glasses. Our glasses are glasses. Isn't it astounding? And I know many of you have already thought about this. C plus C is C's. C's. C plus C is U plus U. U plus U is us, which is U's. U, C's, C's. S-E-E-S, you say it out loud, that's phonetically. S-E-A-S, C's. You're the C's, the stream of consciousness. The C's. It goes and goes and goes. You are now one. You are hourglass. You are infinity. You have the lenses to be able to see that. You are the good luck charm. You are the magnet. You are the boomerang. You are it. That is the entire equation that I've been trying to solve my whole life. Ever since I started seeing coincidences and being flipped out by it and going, who can I talk to about this? Everyone's going, oh, what a quinky dink. Oh, what a small world. It's because we've not been taught how to handle that, how to really embrace that and go, ooh, like, whoa. I've been talking about these concepts. I mean, when I substitute taught for 9 years, these concepts kept flooding in. I was teaching these to the kids. Usu. This is the first time that I've ever really let these floodgates flow like this. But now it's really documented. And there's so much more than that. 1 is I. 2 is S. 2 is also a backwards 5. If you make a 5 like an S, so 2 is a 5. If we want to play with it like that. 3, like we said, is a W. 3, we can also look at as a triangle. 4 looks like an A. 5, like we said, is a 2, an S. 6 is a 9, 9 is a 6. It also looks like, let's see, 6. I'm trying to think of like B? Maybe a 6 is a lowercase b. That's interesting, which is also a P. 7, what is a 7? 7 could look like a number 1 maybe? L, upside down L, like, L7. 8, H, all those great things we talked about. And also a B, it was like if you ever had one of those old calculators, it was the letter B, which is interesting because to be, just to be, if you take B-E-E, just be in the now, be in the now, be in the one, you are the one, you have one, now. The bee buzzes. Bzz. I was reading this because the bees started going around by this hummingbird feeder I have. Of course, hummingbird infinity. And bees are like good luck. But I had all these bees. I was not scared of these bees. I was putting them in my hand and go, okay, get out of there. They're kind of coming in the house over here. There's nothing to be scared of. I treat them as my little buddies. It's amazing. Bee, to buzz. What do the bees do? They pollinate. They collaborate. They reciprocate. Just in their nature. They're not looking for the kudos. Who knows? Maybe they get a high five. You're like, oh yeah, you pollinated me. Like you inseminated me. You are the father of these flowers. Imagine that. A bee goes back and checks out its sons and daughters, which is a whole bunch of flowers, this beautiful garden. Thanks, Dad. I guess he'd be like the surrogate father. Maybe he reports the news to the other father where he gets the original pollen from. Hey, the kids way over there are doing great. You got kids over here, you got kids over there. Bada boom, bada bing. You got your whole family. They're over in all kinds of gardens, all kinds of forests. So the B, of course, that symbolizes the connectivity, which of course symbolizes the infinity, connectivity. Okay, 9. Okay, we already said that was 6. That was B. That's a B. Interesting. 8 is a B, and B is a little lowercase b. So that's cool. 10. 10 is I. And 0. 0 is infinity. O is like, oh, when you're excited. It symbolizes that. Symbolize screaming. There we have that yin-yang sort of thing. 11, well, that's 2 eyes. 2 eyes, that's is. Eyes, is, see, yes, we, us. 2 eyes, that's is. That's interesting. 2 exclamation points. The gateway. Your eyes give you the gateway. But what's in the middle? See, that was the thing too. If you draw that infinity, this is the other thing I want to say is that right in the middle of infinity, if you draw that infinity across your eyes, what's in the middle? What does it come into? The third eye. The power of it all. Spins it all. Spinning that, you're spinning that propeller. That's right there. It's right between your eyes. Powered by the third eye. Maybe there's a science fiction movie where maybe they call the third eyes or something. I don't know. The propeller heads. I know that's a band, but maybe there's something that comes out like an antenna straight out of their nose, and then there's like a little infinity fan propeller, and when they're tuned in, that thing spins. That's cool. And they have to be at a high vibration in order for that to happen. I don't know if you've seen the toy. I forgot, I was at someone's house and they had this. It was like for the Force. And it's like, train your own Force, your own Jedi nature. And what it was like you I think you put your fingers on it, and there's air that pushes up this sort of like a golf ball up this little tunnel, but based on your mind, on your sensation, on your vibes, it decides whether to open up more air for it or less. So depending on your vibrations, it will read that and goes, vibrates that. So imagine if that is able to be open to the frequency of excitement, joy. What if that's the state you have to be in order for this toy, which is interesting because this now links up with something I think I talked about on the podcast before. You call it the manifestation. It's a toy, the manifestation. It's a button or something where it's like it reads what your vibration is, then you press the button because that's the state. You got to be in that state before you can even put the letter in the mailbox or whatever. The envelope has to be, the message in the envelope has to be the right thing in order for it to go into the right. It's got to be just the right size to fit in that. What do you call it? Mailbox for it to go out to the universe. So maybe that's it. It matches up with your intention. So that's the thing. If we could get, make toys like that to sort of, where it's not a preaching thing, or it's, it could be an educational thing, I suppose. But the idea is to really bypass all of the preconceptions about, that's so mumbo jumbo, or that's woo woo, or whatever words are being used out there to degrade the idea of how powerful the mind is and our connection to the universe. The idea is to bypass through that. See, it's a sneaky way to do it. So it's like, surprise, surprise. You have been hypnotized. I don't want to say tricked or hypnotized even, but you've been tricked into utilizing a very powerful source that is going to manifest extraordinary things in your reality. All because you played with this idea like it's an imaginary toy thing. And that's exactly what you needed to do in order to be able to do this. So it's like, yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's my sermon for today. Thank you for listening to the Legend of Usu. on this Saturday, on this bright Saturday. There are going to be some other things added to this. What they are, I do not yet know. Thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto. Oh, oh, oh. It's a face palm, a bomb of calm, like a napalm bomb. It's a face palm, crumbly malm of loamy alms. And how soon do you think you to do it again? It's a face palm, here it come, alms playing Brahms on prom. And how soon do you think you to do it again? Have the Holmes from Guam to the cable comes. Are the Grom Rom diatoms glom in their moms? It's a face palm, the book of psalms and rhymes and rhymes. And how soon do you think you'll do it again?
This is Atlas the Dragon. I am calling once more in behalf of Nonchalance and for Elsbridge Society. I am here in Crossville, Tennessee, and I have found something absolutely magnificent. Find your way. It's not hard. All you have to do is look inside. Remember, you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.